I'm Dino Mosquera, and let's queer up students and youth culture. Appeals court lets Iowa enforce Don't Say Gay law as legal challenges continue in schools. An appellate court has ruled that Iowa can enforce parts of a controversial education law restricting LGBTQ topics in schools while legal challenges continue. The U.S. Court of Appeals for the Eighth Circuit lifted preliminary injunctions that had blocked provisions of a 2023 law signed by Republican Governor Kim Reynolds. The decision allows enforcement of measures limiting queer-themed books and classroom discussions. The law had been challenged by Iowa Safe Schools, supported by Lambda Legal and the American Civil Liberties Union. A lower court had paused enforcement, but appellate judges said the state can proceed as litigation continues. In its opinion, the court said lower courts had, quote, engaged in flaw analysis, end quote, and interpreted law too broadly. It also ruled that removing certain books from libraries does not violate the First Amendment. The law restricts instructions on gender identity and sexual orientation and requires staff to notify parents if a student is transgender. Nathan Maxwell, senior attorney at Lambda Legal, said, quote, this ruling is a setback, but it's not the end of this fight. We will continue to use every legal tool available to protect these young people. They deserve nothing less. This is another case where Florida has been the inspiration for these disastrous laws, that spread around the country. The good things don't seem to spread. It's always the bad things, and that, we are now seeing it, going to, conservative states like Iowa is shameful, with a country going through a war. And, we're going through so rough times that we pay it, this is what we put our effort and emphasis on. Is shameful.
It's shameful. And those poor kids, those are the kids that I honestly pray for so often. You can ban the words, but you can't ban the kids. Laws like this don't protect anyone. They isolate, they erase, and they out students, whether they're ready or not. And that puts a target on kids' back. That's not safe. If your policy needs to be silent to survive, it probably shouldn't exist.
Well, but that's the point, is to put a target on kids' backs so they'll shut up. Now, not the mainstream podcast, but you don't have to get too fringe before you see things like, we need schoolyard bullying as enforcement. We need their peers to kick the shit out of them as they go along. Now, a couple weeks ago, we sat here and we talked about a ruling that says the court said you can't ban conversion therapy because that's banning free speech. Hopefully someone will bring a case of an out gay student who says, I want to learn about this history. You can't bar these types of things. I'm not a legal expert, but it's going to take something like that, and we will have a definitive ruling for where we are now.
Well, and the worst part about what you just said is that, John, something would have to actually happen to that kid for them to have a case like this, a threatening or something like that wouldn't be enough to bring on a case. Someone has to get hurt, killed, or threatened. A kid has to go through a bad freaking time, and it's hard enough being a kid.
Yeah.
These are the people that, just are, going for, freedom of speech and defending that, are the same people that just basically told us that we can't talk bad about Charlie Kirk because, God bless him. And it's just outrageous that these people are defending freedom of speech at the same time. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, but he can say horrible things about Rob Reiner and about anybody else who passes away.
Yeah.
There is no other queer nonprofit media platform like this in the entire world. Support our LGBTQ stories by sharing them and subscribing to Queer News Tonight.